gentlemen, it is E3 2018. We are here on the Shacknews stage, and I'm here with some lovely people, and we're going to be talking about some lovely games. Gentlemen, how are you guys today? How are you enjoying your E3?
Doing fantastic. It's great to be here at E3. It's my 21st in a row, by the way.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm an old dude.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I've seen it change over the years, but I've been here so many times that I just get exhausted now from E3, just in the planning stage.
Right. Yeah, no, it's always draining because it's always like 2.5 months ahead of time. And it's just like, oh my gosh, here it comes. Yeah, no, I get it. So actually, let me be a gracious host and let's introduce you guys. So who are you guys and what are you guys bringing to us on the stage today?
All right. Well, I'm bringing Mike Mood over here. I'll let him.
I'm Mike Mood. I'm the co-founder of the Meatly Games, as well as the co-creator of Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Mm-hmm.
He's very humble, and my name is David Eddings. I'm head of game publishing at Rooster Teeth Games.
Excellent, awesome. So guys, let's jump right into your game. So could you guys tell me a little bit about Bendy and his ink machine?
No.
Okay, all right, well, thanks everyone.
All right, that was great.
That was great, guys.
Thanks, folks.
Be sure to like and subscribe. We're out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bendy and the Ink Machine it's a puzzle action horror game. It's set in like the 1920s, 1930s era, where we got old time animation, like old cartoon characters. Felt a little eerie, but something was missing. He's like, I need a character. I need like a cartoon character, and he quite literally just threw together this character in a matter of minutes and was like, there you go, cool, that's the character. And after playing around with the concept, he was modeling the character in 3D.
Right, yeah.
And using the program Blender, when he did a save of the file, some typo happened and it ended up calling it Bendy. I was
Okay.
like, sure, I guess the character's name is Bendy now.
All right, yeah, that's
And that's
perfect.
how it all happened.
That's the real origin story right there.
That's
Wow.
always, origin stories are great because they're so dramatic, but at the same time, like, that's it? Okay.
I like origin stories that have like radioactive material and a
Right,
superpower
right,
in there.
right, but
You should
typo.
add that later on.
Typo.
So I want to ask you, because a lot of folks, especially in the industry, know Rooster Teeth is more of a production company for like entertainment
Correct, yes.
on the internet, but you folks are now making games, and this is not your first game as well. So what drew you guys to Bendy to help them out to create the game?
I tell you what. Here's what drew me to Bendy. It's a wonderful experience, and it has a really cool look and feel to it. And it's fun for kids of all ages, all the way up to 99, right?
Right.
One of the things that I loved about it right off the bat was the art style. I've worked on some video games over the years. One of them in the last few that is known for its art style that really helped make it, help set it apart. And so this one, immediately you see it, it catches your eye. But I'm also a student of animation myself, and I was watching the Fleischer brothers, Max and Charles Fleischer, and the early Disney stuff as they were creating the rules of animation. And I saw all those cartoons. I studied them as a kid, and even when I was a child, I got to have lunch with Chuck Jones, the famous animator.
Right, yes.
Which sounds really creepy. My mom and dad and Chuck and his wife had lunch together,
all right.
and I sat between my dad and Chuck, and he drew me a Daffy Duck on a paper napkin,
Oh my gosh.
And then you sold it for $3 million.
Yeah, I wish I still had it. It was on a paper napkin. It just, I took it to school and showed kids, and it just kind of disintegrates. But the point is, though, is that I have a love for these old cartoons and cartoons in general. And it's one of the reasons that I, was attracted to Rooster Teeth, but specifically why I was attracted to Bendy. And they've got something here, and it's really cool. They've got this magic thing, and I just want to continue to see where this story goes.
Right. Yeah.
Also, they let me be the voice of Joey Drew in the game, so
Perfect.
I have
there
to
you
say
go.
nice
Well,
things.
You have to.
I
say
have
nice
to.
things
Yeah.
then. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, it is a very unique aesthetic where you don't normally see it with other like horror type games. So when it comes to like the actual mechanics of the game, is it like a run and hide kind of survival horror game? Do we have weapons? Can I defend myself from these ink monstrosities?
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
All of that.
All of that.
Yeah,
okay.
So the original inception of Bendy and the Ink Machine, it was specifically puzzle horror, at the core of the game was to turn on the ink machine, and you have to find these objects throughout the environment in order to get the ink machine turned on, and then that was basically the end of chapter 1.
Okay.
About a day before we released the free version of chapter 1, we needed to add something a little extra to it at the very end, and we actually added the axe, the weapon. We added it like within 3 hours, like, wouldn't it be cool? And so we added it, and it changed the game entirely. So when we went into chapter 2, it was like, now it's a puzzle action horror game. So now we have enemies, you have weapons. Even in one of the chapters, you actually have to hide from Bendy. So there's all of that.
Listen to this, kids. This is accidental game design, by the
There
way.
you go. Episode by episode, you're just
This is
learning.
how you make it in the industry. If
Everything
you want to
that
make
we
games,
do, everything we do, it's like last minute before we're about to release. We're like, what if we do this? And it just changes everything.
Listen, nothing gets done if it's not for the last minute.
Yeah.
That's when everything happens.
Isn't
you
that
know?
the truth?
It's
we released
the truth.
we released chapter 3 when we uploaded that to Steam and made it live. It was the final build was done and everything 3 minutes before our timeline.
By the skin of your
Okay.
teeth.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of the episodic nature, why'd you guys choose to go episodic with this game?
We get this question a lot, and it's not something that we intended on doing, and I don't believe it's something we would do again in the future.
Okay.
Really, at the end of the day, when we made chapter 1, it was a free game. We made it in a week or so. We just kind of threw it online and said, all right, back to work on the real games, right?
Pardon us while we interrupt that story with Alice.
Oh my goodness!
This is Alice from Bending. So creepy.
Well done. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic.
But yeah, so basically when we released chapter 1, it was free, and we kind of just threw it out and went back to work on another game we were working on.
Right.
But then the internet kind of blew up, and it was like, oh, we have to make it now.
on
People
now,
want
yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
So it was just the two of us at the time, and the Meatly had a job. I was a freelancer at the time. Like we couldn't really put a lot into this.
Right.
So we figured, okay, well, let's put some work into it. We did it in 6 weeks. We made chapter 2, and we decided to sell it as DLC. And so with the money that we made from that, we were able to quit our jobs and fund the development of Chapter 3.
Okay, awesome.
And then Chapter 3...
This is real grassroots development.
Really,
and
that's how we did it.
touching,
which
yeah.
makes it even that much more special.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
so
it's
that's,
great.
That's the reason we did it, but if we had like the financial backing from the beginning, we would have just did one release, right?
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, awesome, cool. So,
The good news is that all 5 chapters come out. We're going to get like a real marketing now, but
Right.
they all come out in October on console and all platforms actually.
All platforms. Okay, that was going to be my question.
So on everything, on PC, on Switch, on Xbox, and on PS4. It'll all come out, so you'll
Now, I
get to
don't know
play the
if
whole thing.
people know that yet.
Okay, well that's
now
why
they
we're
do.
here.
Now they do.
That's why
Now
we're
they do.
here. to
So
tell you folks.
October, we're going to be out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and
yeah.
Steam.
And
Okay.
Steam, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming and
thanks
hanging
for
out with
having
me
us.
and talking about your game. Yes, yes. Is there any other plugs that you want to say? Like, where exactly can folks get it? It's on Steam?
It's on Steam right
Right.
now.
Okay.
You can go to bendyandtheinkmachine.com. Everything is there.
Okay, awesome. Well, folks, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank you.
online.
Thank you, thank you.
Great time with you guys. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to switch around some games. So we're going to talk about another game called Phantom Doctrine. Stay tuned, and we're going to get more into all these indie games. Are we good? Hey folks, welcome back to the Shacknews stage at Indie Heaven. Sorry about that. I am here with two fantastic gentlemen. I have Casper and Blaze, and we're going to be talking about their game, Phantom Doctrine. Folks, how you guys doing? How are you enjoying your E3?
All right, it's a completely different way to enjoy E3. It's
Oh yeah?
really nice and cool here, and only great games, no crowds.
Right.
It's absolutely the best E3 ever here at Indie Heaven. If you're around E3, you have to come here, and you'll never go back to the allegedly real E3 again.
Right, yeah. No, I'm so used to being out in the convention, being squeezed by the crowds, and this is such a nice open bar. I'm enjoying it a lot. So you guys have a game that you guys want to show us. So it's the Phantom Doctrine. Can you guys tell me a little bit about the game, like what it is, what you're doing in it?
Well, it's a turn-based strategy and tactics game set in the Cold War. In the later stages of the Cold War, the 1980s, and it's we call it a spy thriller internally, but it's a conspiracy story. So we've been called XCOM with spies. That's a very easy shortcut to make. But yeah, that's the core of the genre: tactical battles and strategic management of your team and base in the setting of the Cold War.
Okay, cool, awesome. Can you talk a little bit about, because I saw the gameplay of it, it's very XCOM inspired, but can you talk a little bit about the actual espionage that you guys will be doing in the game? Like how is that going to work out in gameplay?
Okay, so there's a lot of systems that go around this because we wanted to create this feeling of paranoia. So, for example, all your agents have some secret perks, and secret perks could either be secret talents or the effects of enemy brainwashing them, and you never know until you find out, which might be too late. Yeah, and almost all missions can be completed in full stealth using takedowns and silenced pistols, silenced sniper rifles, and so on, and hiding bodies.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. Cool. So, what?
Yep. Well, that was the sabotage and paranoia and brainwashing part, but there is also, genuine espionage, as in stealing secret files, decoding secret messages, and investigating leads and trying to uncover enemy operations. So there is a bit of old school spycraft too, as well.
Okay, awesome. So you're basically, fighting off these enemy combatants while still figuring out some of this spy stuff that's happening. That's really cool. What inspired you guys to do the Cold War setting? What drew you into that?
Well, it's a very interesting setting in its own right, but it actually began with the idea of the conspiracy. We wanted to create a game revolving around conspiracy theories and what they represent, the grain of truth that is in many of them. And when we had that one down, we started looking for a really good, maybe unexplored setting that would be a fertile ground for this. And we realized a lot of the modern conspiracy theories, from black helicopters to chemtrails to mind control waves, MK Ultra, this is all rooted in the Cold War and the actually insanely creative ways that the Russia and NATO approached developing new weapons and techniques.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, there's one cool thing to add here. The game is based around actual history events, and the game story is a conspiracy theory in itself.
Okay.
Yeah, because the way you build a conspiracy theory is you take facts that are not related, but kinda could be.
Yeah, you just cram them together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's exactly what we did with a lot of historical stuff.
Okay. How was it researching for this game? Because the Cold War was kind of a wild time back in the day. So when you're reading stuff like MK Ultra and some of the other things, what was that like, just reading it and being like, what is this? Are you serious?
Well, you know that we're based in Warsaw, so we also have a bit of a different perspective on the Cold War, being from the other side of the Iron Curtain historically. And another thing to remember is that in recent years, they've declassified a lot of interesting documents.
Okay.
In the UK, in the US as well, and there are new books being written or out there, very recent books about the Cold War, revealing even more about how close we came to actually, making it a hot war.
Okay.
And that makes watching CNN that much more exciting these days. But yeah, we've done research in terms of like history, but also research in this like finger quotes meaning of like brushing up on our spy movies and spy novels and all the other crazy tech that we wanted to incorporate in the game. Because that's one of the points of having the game set in the 1980s, not like 60s or 70s, is that we have more familiar technology, something that people know. So there is a cell phone, but big.
But big, of
there
course.
is like GPS, but inaccurate. But they start to appear in the world, but there is still no internet. So we avoid this trope that if you make a spy game these days, you just make a game about hackers, basically.
Right, yeah. Okay,
and
interesting.
One more cool thing about the setting is that when researching, we're also looking for blank spots, like things that maybe not necessarily were there, but could have been.
Right, yeah.
So because when, making a game, you try to show some cool, new, fresh stuff that no one's seen before. So you're also looking for places that you could utilize because no one really knows, like the NK Ultra program.
Okay, awesome. So can you guys talk a little bit about like the characters that you're actually playing? Are they customizable? Are they set characters? What is going on with like the party that you guys have?
Okay, this is also pretty unusual because we allow the players to select different starting backgrounds for their campaigns. You can start at either CIA or KGB, and those actually have different starting points, different stories, and we show how either of those agencies ends up fighting the enemy, the conspiracy in the game.
Okay.
So depending on the agency you choose, you have a different job. You're either a KGB spy hunter, basically day-to-day job of people like that was hunting the Western agents.
Right.
Or if you go on the CIA side, you start as their basically a sanctioned CIA assassin, wet work specialist, and those people then end up fighting the conspiracy as founding members and creators of a rogue intelligence operation. And those characters are customizable to a degree that you can customize, from name, gender, looks, and so on. But they do have an assigned code name in the game that everyone refers to them with, like for VO and everything else. But other than that, there is a lot of flexibility, a lot of customization, and you can actually decide how much you want to use your character on missions, because there are some mandatory instances when they also have to go out in the field, but many other cases where they can stay at home and be safe, basically.
Right. Okay.
But then you're losing their expertise.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Now, if it's a mission failure, do you lose those spies and you have to start over, or do you just restart the level?
So that's where the game actually starts. So there's a lot of ways. There are a lot of things that can happen when a mission goes south. For example, you can leave an agent behind, and they might still get back to you.
Okay.
Or they might have been kidnapped, brainwashed, and sent back to you.
Right.
And you never know. Or you can have your agent die in the mission, but when they die, they revealed secrets that they didn't tell you before, as their last words. So it kind of pays off, but doesn't.
Okay.
So, you can always try to get them back to the evac and heal them, basically. So there's a lot of options to go there.
Okay, awesome. Now, where can folks play this game? Is it out yet? Is it going to be on console, PC? What is the brass tacks, if you will, about your game?
Sure. So the bad news is that it's not out yet. The good news is it's going to be out soon, this summer, for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. Okay. So really soon. For now, if you want to find out more about the game, just follow us on Facebook, wishlist us on Steam, and stay tuned. It's really not long now, and the game is big and exciting, and we can't wait to see people actually get their hands on it and probably utterly wreck all our assumptions, but, that's Casper's life from the release onwards.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, but like compared to Harvest, the game is like 4 times bigger in my estimates. So there's like a lot of gameplay.
Yeah. How is the difficulty of making it if it's so huge? What was it like creating this game?
Don't cry. Please don't cry in front of the cameras.
It was very challenging.
Okay.
Well, we could build on what we came up with for Hardwest. So we developed based on that a lot, and we always have like a list of things that maybe could work for this theme, and we put pretty much everything we had there in, like the investigation report, brainwashing, and so on. So it was quite mind-boggling.
Okay.
If that's a word. So
That definitely is a word. Yeah. Wow. It seems like your hard work has paid off. So awesome. So folks, it's called the Phantom Doctrine. It'll be out on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4 at the end of the summer. Yeah, so head over, look on Steam, look on the Phantom Doctrine for more information about this. Blaze, Casper, thank you guys so much for coming on to talk about your game.
Thank you for having us.
Great.
thank you.
So we're going to take another short break, and we're going to get everything all settled for the next game. So stay tuned. Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. folks, welcome back to the Shacknews stage here at Indie Heaven. I'm here with Don, and we're going to be talking about Black Future 88. Don, how are you? Are you enjoying your E3?
I'm having so much fun. This is fantastic.
Fantastic. Did you get a chance to go actually into the convention hall yet?
No, that sounds. I hear it's really hot out. So
it is really hot out. Like I'm wearing black pants and a long sleeve, and walking up here, I was like, "Why did I do this?
Yeah.
Oh my god!"
I'm all black, and just the darkness and the.
Right. Yeah. Shadows must envelop me.
It's good for me.
I get that. Yeah. No, I get that. So, enough about the sun. Let's talk about your game. So, what is your game? Give me a little elevator pitch about it.
So, Black Future 88 is a hardcore action roguelike. It's set in an alternate version of 1988, where you only have 18 minutes left to live. It takes place after a nuclear catastrophe, and you're climbing the tower on basically a suicide revenge mission, and the things that you think are the enemies are not really enemies, and it's really about the friends you make along the way.
Oh, that's heart-touching.
It turns out the tower itself is alive, so as you leave things on the ground like money or drugs or ammunition, the tower will actually consume it, and it'll make itself stronger. So as you're having a roguelike experience, so is the tower, and the tower is picking buffs for itself. So it might send out hunters, it might poison the rain or poison the water, and it might make enemies explode when they die. There's a lot of really bad things to throw at you.
Okay, so each gameplay is 18 minutes long. Is that how?
No,
it works?
it's so I don't know anything about football, but I think it's like football time. So time sometimes it stops, sometimes you spend time like currency.
Okay.
Sometimes you gain it back. It's basically just a resource for you to manage. But when it gets down to zero, that's pretty bad. Your heart explodes.
Okay, so we're working in like that crank type.
Yeah, kind of crank time.
Okay, so, crank time. I like crank time.
It's basically a resource for you to manage, like your health.
Okay, awesome. Can you go a little more detail about the tower? Like how dynamic will it be for each playthrough?
So the game itself is procedural, but the rooms are all kind of hand-authored, similar to Binding of Isaac or Enter the Gungeon. So the tower itself is built, it's all continuous, so there's no loading screen. Once you're in, the tower is there and it's ready to go. So it's built like a layer cake with 4 delicious layers of murder and mayhem, and each one is guarded by a warden or a boss. And then there's a secret layer underneath. It's the cistern. It's really gross.
Okay.
Super nasty. So it's there, and you climb to the top, and you die a lot.
A lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the aesthetic that inspired you guys? It's like 80s future.
Yeah, it's an alternate 1980s future. Retro future is
retro
I think
future?
what the thing that gets tossed around.
Is that what we're calling it now?
We're calling it retro future.
Okay.
Very retro future. It's cyberpunk in the way that The Running Man is cyberpunk. So it's specifically the dance scene in The Running Man with the fog machines and the
Deep
leotards.
cut. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's that's basically it. It's that, but a video game.
Okay. Awesome. Now, since it's in the retro future, that 80s inspired setting, I'm assuming the weapons are going to be a little buck wild. Can you go a little detail about what we'll be wielding?
So the cool thing about 1988 is the technology felt like the future, but it never worked. It was things were faulty, things blew up. The weapons are really dangerous.
Okay.
They're dangerous for you. Some of them use your time as its ammunition source. Some of them shoot money. There's one new weapon called the Vapor Smelter that it's extremely hot, but also emits explosive gas around you. So if you use it too close, you'll ignite the gas and you'll die. You'll just explode really, really bad. So it's extremely powerful, but it presents a huge liability.
Okay.
So the biggest job for the player is to learn the weapons, learn the buffs, figure out what the positive synergies are, the negative synergies, and kind of what play style they want to have. Each run through the tower is really, really different.
Okay.
Just between the weapons and the drugs and the buffs and the curses, there's a lot of combinations. It's almost like building a ridiculous Hearthstone deck.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of fun.
Okay. My next question. Hold on. Kids don't do drugs. Tell me about the drugs.
All right. So the drugs are in 1988, I think. They're all kind of gasoline based. They're all very combustible. So as you vape them or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
RoboCop 2 is a strong drug reference. Just like when they took the drug dealer robot brain and put it into the robot and
Right.
fed it drugs.
Yeah.
So I saw the movie when I was way too young, but so it left a mark on me. But as you there's a drug dealer. It's like a shopkeeper, and there's
Okay.
also shopkeepers, but it costs money to talk to him, unless you're addicted, because then he knows you're like not a narc.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
that's a strange mechanic to put in your game.
it's a positive. It's just a side effect of being addicted. But
Right.
drugs give you really powerful buffs
Okay.
that last as long as you don't get hit or take damage.
Okay,
so
interesting. Okay.
they're really powerful. But if you do too many, you get addicted. And so what that experience is like is one of your health bars, one of your little health tokens, it actually gets inflamed. It's on fire.
Okay.
So if you take damage to that one, it explodes. And your blood basically becomes combustible and
Ooh,
it explodes.
fun. All right.
Just like 1988 real life.
Yeah, just like 1988.
just- I have new respect for my parents for bringing
for
a child
surviving the 80s, yeah.
into the world
Yeah,
in dangerous
okay.
times.
So how does that affect the tower? Is it going to explode?
That doesn't
or-
affect the tower.
Okay, okay.
The tower has its own progression path.
Okay.
So as the tower throws obstacles and when the tower changes itself, it's up to you to say, well, do I want to adapt around that, or do I want to pursue the strategy that I already had?
Okay.
So it's another thing for the player to manage, and another obstacle is just what is their short-term strategy, what is their long-term strategy, and is that really going to work for them?
Okay. Now talking about the adaptability of the tower. So it does change on the power-ups and weapons.
Yeah.
But will it change, like, if I breeze through, like, a level, will it get harder, or how does that work?
The tower gets harder as you climb
progress.
up, because
Okay.
you're always going up. The tower has a lot of tricks it can throw at you,
Okay.
and some of them you might want it to do.
Okay.
So it might. There's ways for the tower to send out a hunter, similar to the movie The Running Man.
Okay, all right.
So it can
Kids,
send out.
ask your parents about these references.
It's very good. It's a great film. So it can send out a hunter, which is a really powerful enemy, and it chases you. It's very aggressive, but they always drop a really good weapon.
Okay.
So as you kind of learn the systems of the game, and you learn how to kind of exploit the tower against itself,
Okay.
You might want that. And the tower might also say, well, no hunter this time, but now all hunters come in twos.
Okay.
So anytime you try to pull a hunter out, there's gonna be two of them,
Okay,
which is
fun.
really dangerous.
Okay, now, I just had something and I just completely lost it. Oh no. What was I going to say? It was something about, can you talk about the development of the game itself? Like, where did you guys start with this? Was it an idea, or how did that happen?
So you're gonna get like a really bad answer. It's gonna be
I gave
ridiculous.
you a really bad question.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So the game really started when I wanted to get back into games.
Okay.
I left for a little bit after getting really burned out. And
Okay, that's fair.
Just crashing super hard. So I wanted to make an indie game and get in as an indie. And I also wanted to make a soundtrack.
Okay,
so
there you go.
I kind of started, I play a lot of action roguelikes because I like the short play session. And I really want to make music, but I don't really know what that is. So
okay.
I let the two inform each other. It was a really organic process, a really organic design. I don't write things down.
Okay,
I'm not organized
right.
at all. So, I just kind of let them inform each other until there was a cohesive vision of kind of what the game was. And then it's like, all right, let's really double down on this.
Okay,
Let's build it.
I think it's really cool that you felt burnt out and you're like, I need to make a thing.
Yeah, I'd
It's almost
switched
therapeutic.
I switched industries and gotten into
Okay.
like financial tech, and it was
Okay.
it was as exciting as it sounds. It was fine. I learned a lot, but I wanted something more visual and just to use my powers for good. In a way.
Yeah. Well, you're
So-
definitely doing good with your drug-fueled tower. Can you talk a little bit about the progression in the game? So if my 18 minutes are up, my heart explodes or whatnot. When I start over, do I bring anything back with me, or is it a clean slate for each playthrough?
It is a clean-ish slate.
Clean-ish.
Clean-ish.
Okay.
So when you die, you see everything that you did during that run. So every time you fire a gun, every time you dash, every time you kill an enemy, you earn experience.
Right.
So you basically rank up and you unlock things that can now happen in the tower.
Okay.
So it might be really complicated weapons like the Vapor Smelter that's super powerful but will probably kill you. Or it might be new abilities for the tower, or it might be a shortcut through the tower. there's a lot of characters that you can unlock. There's 5 playable characters and a secret 6th one.
Ooh, okay, all right.
So, and they're not better. They're just more nuanced. They're
just different.
They're
Yeah.
different.
Okay.
So they kind of require different play styles that might be higher risk reward. So the game generally presents you with very safe options to begin with.
Okay.
But then it gives you things that aren't necessary to be the game, but are definitely really cool and fun. And
Right.
and it's up to the player to kind of learn through trial and error. So the game really emphasizes forcing the player to quickly make a decision and to live or usually die with the consequences.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So I was looking at the game the other day, and I saw it was great, like beautiful pixel art. But the lighting effects on the weapons were just very beautiful. Can you talk about like the art that you wanted to try to use for the game?
So I mean, the game really started with very rough prototypes.
Okay.
It was actually used a 3D model for the character at one time.
Okay. Ooh, okay, interesting.
It's technically a 3D game, actually, just with
Okay.
like 3D rendering. But all the characters and artwork are pixel art sprites.
Right.
So the game is really emphasizes just hyper fluidity, just moving very, very fast. So the art style really came about just through trial and error and just trying to find something that's really ultra rich.
Okay.
And the thing is, I'm not really an effects designer.
Okay,
so
right.
my background is more in coding and programming and graphics programming. So kind of defaulting to like big, highly visual effects like that was easy for me.
Okay, good. All right.
And it was also a substitute because like we're just a super small group of people trying to make a game, and that's
well, it looks gorgeous. So
thanks.
you pulled
Appreciate
it off. Yeah.
It's a really unique take on, I guess, pixel art and cyberpunk.
Okay, awesome, cool. Have you gotten a chance? Did players get a chance to play it yet, or are you guys still holding on to it?
Oh no, it's they can play it basically at shows. We're at PAX East. That was played a lot of the game. It's pretty intense. And then it's here for press.
How's the reception been for it, if you don't mind me asking?
It's been really good. The game is technically at alpha, so there's a few things
still
to
alpha.
work through.
Okay, right.
But we're targeting this year for release.
Cool.
We've announced for PCs, and it's been really amazing to work on. Actually.
Cool.
I'm really
awesome.
lucky.
Awesome. So is it just going to be on PC, or are the consoles going to...
No, we want to bring it to every man, woman, cat, dog, and child on the planet.
Every man, woman, cat, dog, and child. Well, thank you for that.
But we've only announced for PCs.
Okay.
And I think there's going to be some announcements later on, but that's all we've announced for.
Okay, awesome. Cool. So, Don, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's great. I can't wait to play your game. Folks, thank you for hanging out with us. So we're going to sign off for a little bit, get settled, drink some coffee and whatnot. So we'll be right back, so stay tuned.
I'm not.
Folks, welcome back to the Shacknews stage here at Indie Heaven. I'm here with Andy and Smitty. Folks, how are you guys doing? Are you enjoying your E3? You're enjoying the bright lights?
It's really awesome.
Yeah?
I love bright lights.
These bright lights aren't as bad as the big bright light that's up in the sky that's beating down on all of us.
The evil day star.
Yeah, I think they call it the sun or something like
El
that.
Sol. Yeah, it's actually, I mean, I'm from Dallas, and we were on the flight out here. We're saying, oh, everyone's complaining because it's 82 in LA. Wah, wah, wah. I'm complaining because it's 82 in LA.
That's fair. See, I'm from upstate New York, so it was still snowing in May. So me coming here, it's like, oh, right, summer sun. All right, let's do this. So you guys are here with special reserves. We actually have a quick bumper that we're going to toss over so you guys can get a little tease about what we're about to talk about. No, unfortunately, no. That dog was adorable. So you folks focus on the physical aspects of game. Can you guys give me a little elevator pitch for the fans at home, exactly what you guys do?
Well, by the gray hairs in my beard, I used to play games in physical forms. They came on cartridges. They came on discs.
Those days, yeah, with VHSs and Velcro. Yeah, I remember that.
And even further back in my days, I had vinyl records that had beautiful pieces of artwork in them, and I would take the records out and get a slipcover so I could hang the album art on my wall. And so it's that kind of approach, too, where, you know, my first game in the video game business, my first E3 was 1998 in Atlanta, when I was out there with Terminal Reality before we were doing Gathering of Developers or God Games. And so we were still doing physical games back then. Now everybody's so into the digital everything, digital download, digital everything, that I think there's just been such a great positive thing from digital downloads, small indie developers getting their games out there and being able to do it and make some money. But we've lost some of the tangible good stuff about physical games.
Sweet good stuff, yeah.
So that's all we're trying to do, is just say, hey, we can do physical discs, we sequentially number everything, we do low batch numbers because they are collector's items. We're not just trying to make the most money we can. We're trying to deliver fans and the developers something that they wanted, a great collectible physical version of the game. And then sometimes we actually do some premiums, like for Absolver we did a beautiful mask, or Runer we did a figurine. We do a lot of art books. So we're just trying to bring back the physical into gaming.
Okay,
that's all.
Yeah.
So that's a long elevator ride.
Yes, excellent. Perfect. So when you guys create these physical copies, do you work with the developers? Like when you made that mask, were you talking to them?
Oh, for sure. The first thing is always the conversation with the developers, where we say, what, if anything, that you could do that would bring your game into life, that you could hold in your hands? Could I have the mask? And sometimes we can do that really easily, and sometimes it's hard, but they often have things that we were already thinking would be perfect. Put that in your hand.
Yeah, here, I'll hold your mic. Why don't you just go ahead and put that on? Yeah. It's wearable as well.
The mask from
here he goes.
Absolver. And not only do we do the PS4 disc, the physical disc, but we bring some element of the world of the game into something you can hold in your hands and wear, play with. And it's the developers that we dream it up with first, and then we tell them, you let us handle the manufacturing, which is not an easy game to play.
Yes.
And provide
box.
the art and the things that you love about your game, and we'll make it into something real that you can touch.
That's fantastic, and I can see the love and effort that you folks put into these products. It's not like going to like a big super store, getting like a cheap plastic thing. You guys put actual effort into it, and it's great to see that. Yes. It shows the love that you guys have for these games. Can you talk about any of the other games that you guys have? Any more physical games that you have?
Well, one that we're out here. Oh, go ahead.
I'm seeing this. Yeah. Can we talk about? Now you guys made this game.
Well, this is our first title that we're doing ourselves. We developed this game.
Yeah. So
this is called Fetch, a multiplayer live action game.
Yeah. So this is this is the game right here, Fetch.
Fetch.
It's a
Right.
local multiplayer game.
It's a multiplayer live action game.
Wow, that is fantastic. That is absolutely amazing.
Now here's the most important part. There, it comes with a warning, and this is the
course.
most important part. It says right here, very clearly, could cause prolonged exposure to fresh air and sunlight.
Oh, no.
No download required. So the,
I
you
feel
know,
like we
it's-
should take it out so they can really see what we're talking about.
truly
here, 'cause-
appreciate
we could play this game,
the game
right now.
Fetch. Yeah, so
But you know, Sarge is our mascot, and she is the delivery dog, and so we didn't want Sarge to feel left out. That, you know, she had her own ideas. She brought this game really to us. We stole the idea. She's a dog.
Man.
She doesn't even have opposable thumb. She can't hold money, so we'll hold her money
Of course.
that we're
How kind
making
of
off
you.
this free giveaway called Fetch.
now I'm looking at the game right here. I'm noticing that no batteries are required, and it's completely wireless. Something that a
No
lot of fans
subscriptions. No subscriptions either.
like. No loot boxes, no subscriptions.
Well,
This is
if
what
you
get.
bite it really hard in the middle, you'll find a surprise. There's nothing in there. That's
Okay,
kind
the-
of a loot box, right?
It's pure oxygen.
Exactly, the ultimate achievement. Wow, that is perfect
you.
and fantastic.
Hey, congratulations.
You did
Gotta
it.
go,
You
we're
did
done.
it. Yeah,
E3.
yeah.
We did it. We did it. E3 2018.
Put it in the bag. There you go.
So yeah, we like that game. We also have some shirts upstairs. We'll give you that
Okay,
Fetch.
cool.
You know,
I
we
love
like
shirts.
advertising.
Like this
Excellent.
guy.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
But we
By the
also
way,
have
Sarge
a
is a girl. I want to point out this is a female dog.
female dog.
Yes, we're very
Girls
inclusive
love the game
here.
too,
Yeah.
especially
but,
Fetch.
But tell her what's Sarge's mission. What does she do?
Well, Sarge
What's her mission?
is a Saint Bernard, and she's here to save you from the cold reality of digital fandom.
Of course. There you go.
She's
Excellent.
warming things
Excellent.
up with things you can put in your.
But you
That's
know,
all.
we're old school. Like you know, Andy was with BlackRock LLC. She was with Burning Man for a long time. I've been with like Wilson and the whole. You know, I mean, from Dallas. So you know, it was ID and Ritual. I was
Right,
a Terminal
right.
Reality Ensemble. Then we started God Games, and so there's like half of this too is we're a big family, you
Right,
know?
yeah.
And so like a lot of these developers, some of these people that we might have met in Germany 15 years ago that were just total fans, young kids.
Right.
These are the kids publishing games now, you know.
I know, yeah.
So it's really neat how there are some family units that aren't driven by pure capital.
Right.
Like everybody in this room is not a millionaire. There are a few. And there's a billionaire back there.
Right.
but it's not just about money. And so that was the same approach with Special Reserve Games is, like, we have some really great partners, Limited Run Games. Josh and Doug from Limited Run Games, I love you. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better
They've been
partner to
so
have.
helpful to us every step of the way.
Wonderful guys.
That's fantastic to hear. Guys, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your products. Thank you for keeping, I guess, fandom alive within the gaming industry. So for folks who want to, you know, look into these products, where can they go to look at them?
SpecialReserveGames.com
Perfect.
or at Special Reserves on any of the social
On
media.
Twitter.
All those social medias.
We're on the Instagrams.
Perfect. Wow. Excellent. Well, Smitty, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
Andy, it was a pleasure.
Thanks
Thank
a
you so
ton.
much. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to jump right into another game where the water tastes like wine. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Shacknews.
Cool. Excellent. folks, welcome back to the Shacknews stage here at Indie Heaven. I'm here with Genesee. Genesee, how are you? Are you enjoying your E3? Are you avoiding the sun?
I'm doing great, actually. It's really fun because we're over here next to you guys at Shacknews, and we get to show off Phantom Doctrine and Black Future 88 and Semblance. So we get to see you all day.
Yeah, it's excellent. I get to hang out with you most of the time here. Yeah.
Yes.
So for this block currently that we're on, we're going to be talking a little bit about Where the Water Tastes Like Wine.
Yes.
So if you could give me the elevator pitch for the fans at home who aren't truly familiar with the game. So what is Where the Water Tastes Like Wine?
Yes. In a nutshell, Where the Water Tastes Like Wine is a story about traveling, storytelling. It's set during the Great Depression era and about American folklore. So a little bit different than maybe your just one-track story. This one has a lot of different stories that are created by tons of different authors, and we have tons of different voice actors. So you're getting other people's perspective on the characters. There's 16 of them during this era. So the idea is get to know these characters, get them to trust you, and they will tell you their stories, and then those stories become part of a greater narrative in the game. They actually come back to you, which is kind of interesting, and they're elevated like tall tales, and they kind of help build the narrative of this world.
Okay, interesting. I've been following the development for it. It's been so fascinating to see it grow into what it is right now. Can you talk a little bit about the collaborative effort the writers went into creating this game?
Yeah, Dimbulb Games is the developer for this, and we have Kellen Jett and Serenity Forge who did the art for it. Now, the authors were given kind of a snippet of information to write their called vignettes and short stories, and they gave their perspective on it. A lot of these characters are from people that are outside the mainstream of the era, so you have different cultures and ethnicities and experiences, and all of those come together to kind of create this bigger story.
Okay, what was it like creating like a game that encapsulates the Americana of folklore? Like it's such an interesting theme to talk about in gaming.
Yeah, well, I can only speak of what I've heard Janneman Norgensen speak, who's the developer.
Right, yes.
And he's talked about how he's done some traveling on trains and all sorts of different explorations of America. And this inspired him to gather some of these stories, as you might during the era if you were just jumping on trains or kind of just experiencing this as you travel westward.
Right.
So he took all these experiences and put them together, and they inspired him to decide, we should tell a different tale about folklore and maybe a different idea of what the American dream would be from the perspective of someone during the Great Depression.
Okay, that's really fascinating. That's something that we don't really talk about a lot. So it's great to see that it's getting the proper light.
He has a lot of great interviews if you want to hear from his words, but that's my summary.
Okay, good. All right, awesome. Can we talk a little bit about the voice acting? Specifically, let's start with the big name that's involved in this.
Yes.
A musician known as Sting.
Yeah,
so,
we were very fortunate to have a lot of great people come together to kind of lend their artistry to this. But one of the ones we were really excited about was Sting, and he does the voice of the wolf at the beginning. When you first come into the game, you have Fate or the wolf, whatever you want to call him, and he's the person that sends you on this journey. So he was voiced by Sting, and we didn't really reveal that until much later, and just to see kind of if people picked that up or not, and it was just great to see the reaction of all the community when they discovered that they've been listening to Sting this whole time.
That's awesome. Did you guys go up to him to ask about this, or how did that happen?
Well, our COO is a guy who gets out and does all sorts of fun stuff, and he has a lot of interesting friends, and I believe that he kind of met up with Sting or some associates of Sting and just asked him if he would do it, and it worked out.
Okay, awesome. Now the game is out. It's been out for a couple months, and critically it's been very well talked about. What's the next step for you guys? Are you still holding on to Where the Water Tastes Like Wine? Like, what's the next step for you guys?
Gotcha. Well, just recently we released an update that had a whole bunch of news stories and a different idea of the pacing of the game. So we improved some of the things based on community feedback, based on what people were saying on the Steam discussions, etc. And we plan to keep supporting the game in the future, so look for more updates.
Awesome. That's excellent. I guess one of my final questions would be, for folks who are interested in the game, where can they find the game? Is it on PC? Is it on consoles?
Yeah, it's on Steam, Mac, and Linux, and you can find it, PC, Mac, Linux, but in my world, that's usually Steam. So you can find it on there with the search, and just pick it up. GOG has it as well.
Awesome, perfect, excellent. Genesee, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the game. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Folks, we're going to take another break. We'll be right back with some more games, so stay tuned and keep strapped. Folks, welcome back to the Shacknews stage here at Indie Heaven. We are back with another interesting and fascinating game. I'm joined on the stage with my good friend David. David, how are you today?
Hey Andrew, I'm doing solid, thanks.
Fantastic. So you're here with Bard's Tale.
Yeah.
And I think you have an interesting trailer that you want to show off real quick.
Yeah.
So we're going to toss it over so you guys can check out the trailer. Awesome trailer. Awesome to see Bard's Tale back in action. So, can you give me a little elevator pitch about what the game is?
Oh, of course I can.
Excellent.
So the Bard's Tale the Bard's Tale 4 Borrows Deep is a party-based fantasy RPG. You set out to recruit and customize your very own band of adventurers. You engage in deep turn-based strategy combat. If you like games like Darkest Dungeon, you are going to love the Bard's Tale.
I love Darkest Dungeon, so
Well,
my ears are peaked right now.
Darkest Dungeon is kind of, we almost say like it's one-dimensional. It's like a line of characters lined up, and we take it into 2 dimensions, and we bring all the ability play and resource management and strategy and combo finding, like really to a whole new level. You explore the fantasy world of Kaith. You meet our cast of fully voiced characters, and in this over 30-hour game, you save the world.
Excellent, perfect. Can you go in a little detail about the combat? Because with the trailer, it kind of has almost like a first-person, over-the-shoulder feel to it. It feels like old school, like Shimigami Tensei type feel. Can you tell a little bit about it?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, a good analogy is it's like a Western JRPG.
Right.
So you're going through, you have this entire party of adventurers. You get up to 6 adventurers, and you get to customize each one. There's 4 archetypes. Each one has 4 to 6 subclasses with over 60 skills each.
Wow.
There are thousands of ways you can build your party, and each one prevents like a different sort of angle into the combat. And then so you adventure through and you spend points, you're spending spell points, you're comboing passives and abilities, and if you like, you get games like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering, things like that, how like I have a passive and it procs when I move and I get to move free because this guy gives an ability, and it's all about finding all those cool ways to build something that feels totally broken.
That's awesome. It's always interesting to see a game with so many intricate systems playing together and complementing each other at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's great. How is it making such a thick game now in like modern times? Because this feels more like an old school RPG, but you're bringing it into the modern time.
I mean, making it feels great because we really feel like we're doing something that people have never seen before. Because the answer is like they might not have seen something like this since Wizardry.
Right.
Because we're really hearkening back to this old school, really meaty, crunchy strategy gameplay that goes back to, the Bard's Tale 3, which was released over 30 years ago.
Right, yeah.
But we really brought it up to, we've not only taken the aesthetics, which the game looks amazing, but we've taken the design sensibilities and really brought it up to the modern era. And so, plenty of, really great feedback. There's so many ways to customize and, combine your characters in combat to do things you never thought possible.
Right, okay. And going in with the customization, is there, you have a wide array of customization options, but only, 3 are good? Or is there a wide choice for people?
Well, so to give you, the best way I can say it is, so there's 4 archetypes. You can be a sturdy fighter, obviously a bard who can sing magical songs by getting plastered on the battlefield.
Of course,
right.
Yes.
Yeah, because you have to work up your courage.
Oh yeah, I've played D&D. I know how those bards are like. Yeah, yeah.
Or you can be a practitioner of magic, or you can be a stealthy rogue. Each one has 4 to 6 subclasses, and each one of those subclasses is a very strong direction for the character. But as you build your character, you can usually spec into 2 or 3 of those and then mix and match them. So each one is a very valid option. Then you have up to 6 characters and then 7 races to pick from, and each race has a super high impact ability, like Trow are able to get back opportunity points, which is this really important resource every time they kill someone. Or dwarves are immune to crowd control. Really, really important things that shape your character.
That's big, yeah.
Right. And so when you combine all those, the number of even reasonable permutations, if you're being conservative, is thousands and thousands of ways to build your party. And it's not just your party you get to customize, but as you saw in the trailer and as you might see as we're rolling the film, you get to upgrade your weapons. We have puzzle weapons, these elven puzzle weapons.
Okay.
In forges of long past in the elven realm, they forge these magical puzzle weapons, which basically have like arcane security systems on them. There's deep magic, like it drips poison or it'll drive your enemy insane or something like that. But you have to prove yourself worthy. And so much like the game The Room, you get to inspect the weapon, rotate it in full 3D.
Okay, that's
you can find little hidden compartments and buttons, and you even find puzzles baked into the weapon.
Okay.
And as you solve them and unlock it, it gains new power. And each upgrade really changes how you play. It might your attacks might start lighting enemies on fire, or it might knock them back, or give them different status effects, or like rend their armor off. And all of those things have huge impact on how you might use an ability.
That is a very clever way to handle progression with weapons. I've never heard of solve a puzzle so your sword is better. That's really cool. So with Bard's Tale, it's kind of like a long series, and like many folks may be like, oh, I don't want to play this because I haven't played the other ones. Can a new, fresh, young lad jump into this game and be fine with just playing this game, or do they need to play the older ones to understand it?
So the Bard's Tale, even from a lore perspective, takes place 150 years past the events of Bard's Tale 3. And so we really built the entire experience as a way for, if older players know the games, they're going to recognize landmarks and they're like, oh, I know that street, or I know there's a secret over here because there was one in the old games. But if you're a new player, we really built the game for new players to be able to explore and discover Scarabray for the first time.
Okay, cool.
And so the whole thing is really built with those first-time players in mind.
Okay, yeah. Oh, awesome. So, like, speaking about Bard's Tale, it's kind of known for its narrative and, like, the player choices. Will that happen in this upcoming game?
So we play through a rich 30-hour-long story that each character is fully voiced, and there are some key moments where you get to make high-impact decisions. Which characters are you taking on your adventure? But we really focus on the combat more than anything.
Okay.
And we really wanted to build a really crisp experience where each time you go into a zone, the enemies and the challenges before you force you to like re-strategize how you were thinking about going into this zone, and I might have to abandon this party member and pick up a new one just so I can have the right abilities to really crack the strategic puzzle.
Okay, awesome. Now with character customization, can you customize how they look? I know you can choose the race and the class, but like how much more customization do you have as a player?
So we really focus on the kind of customization that you get to play with, the kind that you get to like interact with. And so we don't focus as much on like the aesthetic customization, though as you upgrade your character, you get to see them hold that rad new puzzle weapon. You can see them don their new armor. But where we really focus is like all the ways you get to actually interact with them, mainly in combat. Because each character really expresses themselves in a different way when you're in the middle of a fight.
Okay, that's awesome. That's great to hear. And finally, for folks who are interested about this game, where can they, get their hands on it? Where can they get more information about it? What's up with that?
We have pre-orders available on the Bard's Tale or bardstale.com.
Okay, cool.
And you can also find us on Twitter and Facebook at the Bard's Tale.
Cool. Do you have a release date yet?
We're releasing this year.
This year. Okay,
yes.
Cool. Nice and vague. I love it. David, thank you so much for joining us. And folks, thank you for joining us. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to switch around, get a new game to talk about, so stay tuned. Folks, welcome back to the Shacknews stage here at Indie Heaven. I'm here with Paula and Vincent. How are you two? Are you enjoying your E3?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, it's been great so far.
Okay. So for a quick thing, what are you guys bringing to show us today?
So we are bringing our first trailer for the game NeoCab.
Okay, excellent. And we do have that trailer right here, so we're going to toss it over there so you folks can check it out. Awesome trailer. So for folks, can you give me a quick elevator pitch about what your game is and what you do in it?
Yeah.
Please.
Sure. NeoCab is set in a near future world where the city has really been disrupted by an over-reliance on technology and AI, and you play as the last human Uber driver named Lena.
Okay.
And the thing about Lena is that when your competition is AI, what really makes you stand out is your ability to empathize with people's stories. So that's really like the bedrock of our game, is characters and emotions and storytelling.
Okay, awesome. Now, what is the gameplay kind of like? Are you just having these conversations? Are you driving at the same time? Like, what is actually going on in your game?
Yeah, the gameplay is fairly intimate. You're having a one-on-one conversation with someone as you drive them to their destination. And we try and cut around the car in a very cinematic style, sort of similar to like movies like A Night on Earth, or what were some of our other examples I remember?
Taxi Driver.
Okay, Taxi Cab Confessions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Yeah. I think we're all familiar with that.
Yeah, it has a very Taxi Cab Confessions feel, but it allows us to tell the story about what could potentially happen in the future from that vantage point.
Okay, interesting. Now, what are some of the themes that you folks are tackling with this game? Because it seems like you're having a very human game almost.
Well, I think we're trying to talk about the importance of empathy in a world where that is devalued. Okay. Where making money or being efficient is more important than just taking a second to connect with a person that's in front of you. And thinking about, like, you meet people at any moment in their lives in this game, and they're literally on their way to anywhere. And what can you learn about that person, about where they're going and where they might go next?
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and there's you drive for a car company called NeoCab, and it is the last car company that employs human drivers in our city. There's a larger organization called Capra, and they have an automated fleet.
All right.
So the people that come to your car service are typically people wanting to search for a human connection, or maybe they're doing something that they don't want to be under surveillance.
Right,
So everybody has a really unique story to tell.
Okay.
And, for the 5-10 minutes of which it takes for a ride, you find out about a lot of their life story.
Okay, interesting. Now, is there an overarching narrative in your game, or is it just vignettes with each person in your cab?
There's both. There's an overarching narrative, and our vignettes are kind of softly related in terms of the passengers that you meet. they help you on your like character journey, but there's also a larger mystery to solve.
Okay,
and some of the passengers that you pick up have clues to this mystery, and some of them have clues to kind of your inner mystery, if you will, about who Lena is and who she's going to become in this game.
Okay.
So every passenger you pick up takes you somewhere, but some are related to that like a overarching story.
Right.
And some are more about Lena's kind of like internal.
Okay, interesting, awesome. So with a lot of narrative-driven games, it's kind of difficult to balance narrative and gameplay. What have you folks done to help balance that?
That's a really good question. Let me think. Do you have a quick answer for that one?
Well, we are always relating the game to Lena's emotional state.
Okay.
And quickly we've kind of symbolized that through a piece of technology we call the Field Grid. And it's this wearable biotechnology device that's constantly monitoring Lena's emotional state, because the thing about being a service worker is that you have to not only like cater to the person that you're dealing with, what they might want from you, but there's a cost to that in terms of how is it going to make you feel to be nice to this person who's being rude to you.
Right, okay.
And that might give you your star rating or your tip, but it's going to cost you something, as a human, cost you something emotionally.
Right,
And the Field Grid is a way we've conceptualized to visualize this.
Right.
So.
And as a player, you're constantly balancing the star rating you get from your job and also your own emotional well-being as a character.
Right.
That's interesting.
And so, there are certain times in the game where, you're choosing dialogue, but then an option is just not available to you. And we always show it to the player to let them know this is the option that you could have chosen. But it's important to us to let them know that, because sometimes, we've all been having, we've all had crazy long days.
Right.
And sometimes that you're just incapable of certain, thoughts or, bits of dialogue.
Right, like you know what you should say to keep this person from like going crazy, but you're just too tired to do it.
Right,
and we try to replicate that in the game.
Okay,
exactly,
wow, that's actually fascinating. Yeah, does this mean there's a lot of story branches that can go multiple ways? Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, and we have a lot of fun with that. I mean, given that you play out a series of nights over the game, and you have a bunch of different passengers, or as we call them, packs, who are available to you at, only at limited times. So at the beginning of the night, you might only have these three characters, and as the night progresses, they move on with their lives, and so you may only see people once, you might see other people 2 or 3 times.
Okay, awesome. So where did this idea come from? It's such a unique pitch for a video game. Like, how did this come to pass?
A lot of the original idea came from our creative director, Patrick Ewing, who also worked on Firewatch.
Okay.
And he was part of that team and then assembled all of us together to make this game. And a lot of it came from his experience living in the Bay Area and seeing the huge tech boom up there.
Right.
And then from conversations that we've all started having with Lyft drivers, with Uber drivers, and realizing, just trying to think about what kind of game mechanics could stream out of that, and also what kind of stories could come out of that. Because sadly, a lot of the Uber and Lyft drivers' lives are pretty gamified.
Yeah, no, it's a lot actually. Yeah.
They have to make sure they maintain a 5-star rating. If they drop even to 4, then they sort of get put on notice, and if they drop lower than that, then they're cut off.
Right.
And so and then they constantly have these like surge pricings and also like little competitions between drivers and whatnot. So it's sort of like the game mechanics were really kind of built into that experience. But when you just talk to someone in the car, you don't think about that. You just think about what's their story and what do they have to tell.
Right.
So that all fed the inspiration for the game.
Okay, awesome. Now, for folks who want to learn more about your game, where can they go to find more information about it?
Well, they can wishlist the game on Steam now.
Okay.
Or they can visit our website, which is neocabgame.com.
Okay. Is it available now? Can people go out and play?
It's not available right now.
Okay. Is there a release date or anything like that for it yet?
No, not quite yet.
Okay. We're going to keep it nice and vague.
In the near future.
All right, awesome. That is fantastic to hear. Vincent, thank you so much
for
joining on. Paula, it was a great pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump into another game, so stay tuned. Folks, welcome back to the Shacknews stage here at Indie Heaven. I'm joined once again by my good friends Smitty and Andy. Folks, how are you? It's been so long since we've talked. What have you been doing?
An hour and 15 minutes.
I know, God, it felt like years.
I think my sunburn has gotten a little more burnered.
Yeah, well, welcome to LA. That's definitely what's going to happen.
Well, we're on the roof. We're on the roof of a 5-story building.
Right, that's right.
Close.
Not here, but up there.
Yes. So for folks who are joining us who might not know what you two do, can you just give me the quick elevator pitch of what you folks are doing here today?
Special Reserve Games releases physical copies and collectibles of digital games. When you're a fan of games, you don't always get something to hold in your hand when a new game comes out and you buy it digitally. What we do is create something that's physical. You can put that game on your shelf, take it off and play it. Collectibles that go along with the game. We try to bring you from the cold reality of digital fandom into something warmer and more
Because we really do have fans, and we're talking to you PS4 collectors, who do believe that the PSN will go away, that the internet will go away. And without that physical disc, that melted plastic in your hand, your game will be gone. Mm-hmm. So you need physical discs. And it looks really cool on the shelf.
Right. No, yeah, you gotta fill out your shelf with all this cool swag. So, like, you folks have done some interesting things. Like earlier, we showed off the mask from Absolver, and it's beautifully well made. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And of course, we also have the fantastic, amazing local multiplayer game of Fetch. Yeah. This is a game that you guys created yourselves. It is amazing.
Hard work.
And of course, before we go into more detail about Fetch, I must legally have to read the warning of it. Fetch could cause prolonged exposure to sunlight and fresh air. Yep. So be careful.
No download required either.
Yes.
No download required.
Ask your parents first. Okay?
Ask your parents if Fetch is right for you. You can see that it's also wireless. There's no batteries in it. And we mentioned earlier, no loot boxes, no microtransactions.
No subscription.
No subscription. It's all right here, folks.
Yep.
Fetch. Excellent.
Debuting here at
E3.
Indy 3.
We just like to play. We like games of all kinds.
I can see that. Yeah, you folks really love games.
The fact
and the
that
games
I do have
on.
a little kid putting down a Switch onto the ground.
Oh, that's perfect.
I was going to play really big into.
Move over, Nintendo. So besides Fetch, what are you folks showing off here? I hear you guys might have a special little goodie that you want to show off here.
I mean, we brought some copies of what we've done before, but we thought that we'd bring a sneak peek at some stuff we have coming up. Smitty.
So we have to say Dave Crooks in Austin, Texas,
And
Dodge Roll. You're going to see it here before you see it in your own hand, so I'm sorry. But it is the Ammonomicon.
From Enter the Gungeon, we have the real printed, beautiful Ammonomicon of your dreams.
And it's got tabs to get to the different sections.
Let's trade. I'll take the book. You hold on to my mic.
All right.
And I will Vanna this.
You narrate.
Vanna that. But it's we worked with Dave meticulously over several months. Each one is sequentially numbered. So there, we do have a limited number that we're going to create. 224 pages with guns, items, enemies, some cool artwork. And so the guys at Dodge Roll, especially Dave, man, and our team, laying out a book is hard. I had no idea. You don't lay pages out.
We knew exactly what we were doing.
Books are hard.
Listen to him.
So, but it also includes the content for the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons update that's coming out in July. And so there's a lot of different things that are included in the book content-wise. So it will be current, even its archaic printed form. It's not cutting edge new digital. We're still pretty cutting edge and up to date. But anyway, it's probably one of the greatest, my favorite collectors, because it's a beautiful hardcover bound book. Mm-hmm. It really represents a tangible good that certainly isn't just a figurine or a mask or even an art book. It's a different type of thing altogether. This belongs on your shelf next to all your PS4
discs that we're also producing, so that those who like to have their game on a disc can have their PS4 copy of Enter the Gungeon.
And when we bundle the PS4s, because we sequentially number all of the physical discs that we do, and we're apparently the only publisher that actually does sequentially number all of our units, because, I don't know, it's difficult to do a little bit, but we want to prove value. We want to say, hey, we made 3,000 units of something. We can prove it because we sequentially number it. You can catch me on eBay if I'm lying. But so anyway, we're just really excited about being able to deliver something that a developer that had a dream and a vision of a great game a long time ago, and has had amazing success with Enter the Gungeon. And we asked him, just like we said before, what is the thing that you would like to create? And he said, man, a physical Ammonomicon, and he writes a dedication to Devolver Digital and everybody in here about that. And so anyway, it's just a fantastic thing. It's probably my favorite thing we've created. It's like, my third child. Well, this is my favorite child so far because it's the newest. It smells good still. It's not eating too much.
Right.
But anyway, so that'll be the next thing that comes up. And then we got some Broforce things in the works.
You mentioned a little bit of that.
Yeah, there'll be some Broforce magic. We have some to show. If you're here at E3 and you come and visit us, I can show you something truly special for Broforce. But I'm not going to launch it here just yet because we just kind of, that's already pretty special.
We're still holding, you guys got the Ammonomicon, all right?
But then Broforce fans will be very happy to hear that Special Reserve Games has something coming up. I happen to be a very big Broforce fan, so I'd be happy to show it to you myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Well.
And there's some more Switch stuff. Switch. We've been kind of known for physical PS4, but physical Switch, and especially with so many great developers that are currently developing for Switch for the first time ever. Honestly, it's a lot easier. They just check a little box when they're, is this for physical and digital? Yes, because there is a process going back and getting back catalog digital games and actually getting them to pass QA for discs, mainly loading times and stuff like that. So it's not just as easy as slapping an ISO together of a great old game and boom, you got a disc. But it's not the hardest thing ever.
Right.
There's some games that just
about that. We'll do that part.
Behind the scenes stuff.
See how difficult all that is? You don't want to deal with that. Just give us $26.99 and we'll give you the game. Boom, right to your door.
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming. I have to say, this is probably one of the coolest things that I've seen for a book. So for folks who are interested in getting a physical copy of this, well, obviously physical, so where should they be looking out for? When can they expect it? What is going on with that?
This is coming this summer, very soon.
Okay.
We'll say very soon. I don't like to tell people until I'm sure we can get
not
it to them.
Not June. We can say that. Not June.
Not this month.
You heard it here, folks.
But very soon.
Premiere, not June.
From specialreservegames.com, and you can follow us on Twitter and other social media at specialreserve.com.
Okay. Or if you don't like that, gamesyoudeserve.com. That's what we put in the back of that. So we just wanted to make sure that we had a URL that wasn't advertising. It's gamesyoudeserve.com. I mean, that speaks to all of us. So.
Okay. Well, awesome. Thank you. Andy, Smitty, thank you so much for joining me once again. I hope you guys had a fantastic, is it technically day 1 or day 3 of E3? It's kind of hard to tell. And we're wrapping up the stream for the day. So, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us for the day. We'll be back tomorrow with more games, more devs to talk to, all these great things, maybe a special guest or two. I won't show my hand just yet. So my name has been Andrew Zukowski. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
See you, brother.